Welcome everyone to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining me on this fine Wednesday. We've got a lot that we're going to go over today, and I just wanted to say, before we get into today's episode, I'm just so greatly appreciative of all the support and all the well wishes, and everybody's coming in and letting me know that they appreciate the show and they like it and they like the content. So I'm telling you guys the same thing. I appreciate you as fans, and supporters, and friends and family, for watching and checking it out and commenting in the comments. And, as I've said before, this is your show too. It's not just me. Obviously, I have to facilitate it, but it's your show too. And, as the season gets closer, we're going to have a lot more heated conversations. We're going to have some more, conversations as far as how good can the Commanders be. I see a lot of Eagles fans. What's up to you guys as well? I see a lot of you guys in the comments, and some comments are good, some comments aren't. But you know what? This platform is for you to be able to share what you think. All I ask is that you keep it professional, you keep it clean, and we have fun with this. Remember, on Friday, if you want to come on the program, and I've got a lot of people who've asked to come on this Friday. So we're going to have some familiar faces and we're going to have some new faces, but we're going to have a lot of faces. That's the key thing. So if you want to come on this Friday, all you got to do is email me. You can see the email right here on the screen. Email me at thelakeLewisJr.show@gmail.com. All I need from you is your email. If you want to come on, let me know, hey, I want to be on your show. Here's my email, and we'll get you the link out around 4 p.m. On Friday, East Coast time. Remember that. We'll get that out to you then. And then all you have to do at 5 o'clock East Coast time, log in, and you'll be logging in live with other familiar faces. And, a lot of people are made friends now, in our fan day. So it's a fun time. It really is. Some announcements to make. I wanted to let everyone know that you'll be able to read some of my stuff also on heavy.com, going in there as an insider, and be able to break down other teams and other topic matter that's important to everyone around the NFL. And then, of course, gotta show the Commanders love as always, so I'll be doing that still. And then, as the season gets closer and, get back to the TV work, you'll see me on ABC and DC. And then, of course, if you're in the Richmond area, on CBS 6 in Richmond as an NFL insider. So more announcements will be coming over the next week or two, and those are the big ones. And I can't wait to say what's going on with you, but you got to wait till then. In the meantime, I know it's a lot of self-selling here, but sometimes you got to do these things, let everyone know where you're coming from. One of the things that I don't need to sell is something that I talked about in the last show. And the fact is that Washington and the Eagles are a rivalry. And I think some old heads got into the comment section and they were saying things like, oh, Lake, man, they always were a rivalry. I disagree. I mean, I think, yes, if you want to break it down from the fact that the proximity of the two teams, and then the Giants and, the Cowboys, of course, the NFC East, all the teams don't like each other. It's just the way the division is set up. And then you think of back, I'm old enough to remember when the Cardinals were part of the NFC East. That's right. If you're a young head and you're like, what is he talking about? Yeah, look it up. The Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. They were not the Arizona Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals. They were part of the NFC East for most of my, young life. And I remember the Roy Greens and, everyone that they had, playing for the Cardinals back then. So were they rivals? I think the natural rival for Washington has always been the Dallas Cowboys. That's just the way it's been. That was one of the most hated rivalries in all of sports, when they were really playing for something. And that was my whole gist the other day. It was, you can't be a rivalry if you're not winning. I use it to, being in the region of the DMV. I'm Penn State alum. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I went to Georgetown, for grad and all that stuff, but I'm a Nittany Lion. Okay. And a lot of my good friends, my mom had her master's from University of Maryland, but a lot of my close friends, naturally being from Maryland and DC, they were going to University of Maryland. And some of them would say, well, Penn State now is, their natural rivalry when Maryland joined the Big Ten. And I kept saying, there's no way. If you're going to look at it from a proximity standpoint, yeah, it makes sense. It might be, the closest school to Maryland in the Big Ten outside of, say, Rutgers, okay? But I think it was kind of like a guilt by association type thing where Maryland folks wanted to latch on to Penn State to say that they were rivals because Penn State has the cachet from football. Okay, I could understand it in that realm, but as far as what do you think we think as Nittany Lions, we don't look at Maryland as a rival. We look at them as a dub. I'm just calling it like it is. No offense to Maryland folks. The history shows you from a football standpoint, we look at that like an automatic win on the season. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like, out of 70 games, we've won like 66. So, I mean, come on, folks. That's not a rivalry. In our minds, we're looking at Ohio State. We're looking at Michigan as rivalries. But guess what? They don't look at us as a rivalry. They look at Michigan and Ohio State as the game. They're their own rivalry. We're guilty by association, saying that we want to, say Ohio State's our rival and Michigan's our rival because those are the two best teams in the Big Ten year in and year out. Well, you can't say that. So all I'm saying is going back to the NFC and pro football, Washington and the Eagles, in my opinion, right now have the cachet to be the NFL's next great rivalry. And I'm saying a sheer rivalry, not because they're in the same division, not because they're, 2 hours away from each other from a mileage standpoint. No, I'm talking about because of what they're doing on the damn field. And the fact that they have two really good young quarterbacks tells you that this is going to be sustainable. The fact that Washington is building and doing everything they can right now in this offseason as far as free agents and some trades geared towards who? The Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That's what I mean by a rivalry. Yes, if the Cowboys came up next year and they were legit Super Bowl contenders, not the way their fans seem to think they are every year, but I mean like from us as far as media, as far as you fans of other teams, if we all gave Dallas that kind of love and said they're legit Super Bowl contenders next year, yeah, Washington and Dallas would without question trump Washington and Philadelphia under every circumstance. But that's not the case because Dallas is not a Super Bowl contender. And don't fool yourself if you're a Cowboy fan. They're not. Okay. The Eagles are. They're the best team in football. Everyone's gunning for them. And the only team that I can seem to vividly think of that has a chance to supplant them because of familiarity, it's not Dallas, it's not the Giants, it's Washington. Washington was the team that made Eagles players, A.J. Brown and others, say, man, couple more pieces here or there, this team's going to be one of those teams because they've got number 5. And that's what I'm talking about when I meant rivalry. So that's what I wanted to come on and clear up real quick before we move on and get into today's first segment of today's program. And that first segment is real simple. When you look around the landscape of the league and you have power rankings out there, excuse me, it's kind of surprising for me to say that Washington is a top 10 team right now. Well, they are. If you look at power rankings right now, and I have an article that, will be up on Heavy, and it's breaking down my top 10 teams, So I know that was a shameless plug, but I had to do it, folks. I had to. When I break down my top 10 teams, well, Washington, for me, sits at number 5 on the list. And it was between 5 and 6. I could see maybe some people having them at 7, but for me, I had them at 5. And these are the reasons why. All the teams that are in the top 5 have everything that Washington has in common. And what that is they have a franchise quarterback. That's the difference. And again, I know some of you are Lions fans and you're thinking that I'm piling on Jared Goff. Jared Goff has been to the Super Bowl before. He was in the Super Bowl when he was with the Rams. But Jared Goff, I think when you mention his name with the other elite quarterbacks in the NFL, to me, he doesn't fall in that elite category. He falls in the very good category. He's a very good professional quarterback. But there's levels to this stuff, man. There's levels. There's that top 5, top 6 tier quarterback, okay? And then you have another tier. That's the next 5 or 6. And then you have a third tier. I mean, if you're in the third tier of an NFL quarterback, which means that you're probably in the 11 to 16, 17 range, you're a damn good quarterback, man. You're one of the best in the world. But when you're a 5 to 10, you're expected to be taking teams to the playoffs. That's what Jared Goff is. He's taking his team to the playoffs. But when you're in the 1 through 5 category, you're expected to take your team to the Super Bowl, and not once, but consistently be vying for that opportunity. So you may say, well, if that's the case, Lamar Jackson's failed because his team hasn't gone to the Super Bowl yet. Josh Allen's failed. He hasn't taken his team to the Super Bowl yet. Well, I disagree with you, because the thing that those two guys have in common is they have MVPs next to their name. That's not the easiest thing to do in the world. We all know that. For you to be looked at as the main man in your profession for a given year, Lamar Jackson's been looked at like that for, 2 years now, because he has 2 MVPs. Josh Allen has 1. Patrick Mahomes has 2, 3 himself. Okay. Joe Burrow has taken the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl. And I know all this conversation is still like, man, we've talked about this so many times. I'm just trying to clear the air because I want people to understand where I'm coming from with this. Jalen Hurts, to me, has to be in that top 5. He has to be. How can you tell me a guy, I don't care if he's the game's numero uno game manager, because he is. He's the best game manager in all of football. And some people look at game manager as a dirty word. No, that's not a dirty word. What that's saying is, don't lose the game for us, Jalen. Make some plays when you need to help us win the game. But the key word is help us win the game. When you have a Saquon Barkley, that help becomes tremendously important. When you have A.J. Brown, when you have Devontae Smith, when you have Dallas Goedert, I mean, they're loaded. You have that offensive line. And then not to mention that defensive side of the ball where those guys should have been arrested after the Super Bowl for what they did to the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a full-blown assault. Okay. So if you're Jalen Hurts, you don't have to put everyone on your back. Well, I saw that last year several times with a rookie out of LSU that was quarterbacking for the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels put Washington on his back numerous times. Not taking anything away from Terry McLaurin, who put some games on his back too. But Jaden Daniels, if he doesn't play Superman quite a bit last year, they're probably not going to go to the playoffs. They're probably not going to win as many games as they did. Okay. Well, we know that's in his DNA to be Superman. So it's not a one-year fluke for everyone out there saying, I need to see him do it again in order to understand if he's good or not. No, you don't. Did you not see with your own eyes what I've been trying to tell you guys since last rookie minicamp? The guy is one of one. Okay. He belongs in the conversation of that 1 through 5. Because of his talent level, because of his production, because of him taking a moribund franchise and uplifting it again to the heights and expectations that it had when I was a kid, when it was good, when it was great, when it was the gold standard around the NFL. Okay. So all I'm saying is that when you break this stuff down, you got to put your fandom away and think of it in logical terms. So, yes, as far as a team, that's how I look at Washington. They overachieved last year big time. But did they? They overachieved. Yeah, you can say that if you want. But I also say that the culture met the talent, met the desire, met the coaching, met the leadership as an owner, and it met the fan base who was hungry to cheer for those guys. It was the perfect storm. Everything came together, and it spearheaded them to do great things. If you don't think that's the expectation for this year, then you're not a fan because those guys believe that going to the Super Bowl. And I don't mean that from an arrogant standpoint. I mean from a confidence standpoint. Just like the Eagles feel that way. Just like the Ravens feel that way. Just like, hell, teams like the Chargers now, with Harbaugh, they feel that way. There are teams that feel like they are going to the Super Bowl because they feel like they're good enough to get to the Super Bowl. When was the last time you can say in any offseason in your recent 25-year lifetime did you feel like the Washington was going to be a team to be reckoned with? Washington was going to be a team that was going to be a legit Super Bowl contender. Okay. Probably not over the last 30 years. I know I didn't feel that way. Even when they would make the playoffs and they'd lose in the first round, think about that. All the playoff appearances, did they ever get past the first round? No. So that's what I'm saying. Sustainable, meaning you saw them get past the wild card game. You saw them get past the divisional playoff game. Oh, by the way, both those games were on the road against division winners, okay, in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. And then they get to the NFC Championship game and they met a much better football team, a team that they had some success with during the regular season, but it's a totally different game in the playoffs. So for my power ranking, I had Washington at 5. Okay. And again, if you want to go see it, I'm going to plug it again shamelessly. But if you want to see it again, it'll be up on sportsjourney.com and it'll be up on heavy.com. So we're plugging along here, folks, trying to give you some really good content. I'm really excited about Friday because I know a lot of you are just, I can't wait to get it, Lake. I can't wait to get them. So if that's the case, as opposed to yelling right now at the screen, come on the show on Friday. Let me know your thoughts. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Like I said before, though, but respect. I don't know if you guys used to watch Martin, used to watch that show, but respect my house. That's all I ask, man. If you come on, respect the other fans who've taken time out of their day to come on. We try to make this a family affair, man. We have fun with this. Everyone gets a chance to talk, give their opinion. I ask you multiple questions, and I just sit back and basically let you guys, talk and have rhetoric on why you feel like this team is that or whatever, or this player is your favorite player or whatever. But it's a fun time, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long, long time now in this business, just to find a way to get the fans really involved and not just hearsay, but it comes right out of the horse's mouth, which is you, the fan. So again, if you want to come on Friday, all you have to do is very simple, folks. Just email me, not DM me anymore because we have the new email. Email me at the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. So that's the Lake Lewis JR Show at gmail.com. And if you want to come on this Friday, I'm not turning anybody away. If we have 100 people in that chat in our video session, that's what we're going to have. So I'm not turning anyone away. I just feel like if you reach out and you take time out of your day to wanting to come on, I'm going to bring you on. So we'll make it work. We'll squeeze everyone in. We'll make it work and we'll have a lot of fun with it. So I just wanted to come on today, not really break down too much stuff, but I did want to give you a power ranking update. On tomorrow's episode, like I said, in yesterday's episode, tomorrow's going to be a lot more in depth. It really is. I'm going to break down, potential draft picks for Washington now that free agency's kind of cooled off just a little bit. I'll give you a grade too, as far as Washington's free agency class, as far as their grade. And you also have to remember Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil, they're part of that, technically that free agent class because they were traded to be part of the new group that's coming to Washington that has all these fans excited. So we're going to break that down as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up, my friends. We're going to try to keep this train rolling for you in the off season. Anytime I get some info or get a thought in my head, I'm going to bring it on here and we'll discuss it. So as always, appreciate you. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow.